Listen Up with Jim Potts. Listen up, business owners, CFOs, human resource managers, and all managers and supervisors. Jim Potts is answering and addressing your questions and concerns, helping you stay out of court. Furthermore, please be advised that Jim's answers are not legal advice and are only intended as a guide based on his years of experience. The phone lines are open, 1-855-4-J-POTS. That's 1-855-457-6887. You can also email us at listenup@jameswilliampottsllc.com. Ready to listen up? Here is Jim Potts.
Jim Potts back on the air. Well, hello everybody. I just wanted to thank you for those positive emails of support regarding what I discussed last time regarding the transgender guidelines and the definitions. For some people, they expressed they were very happy to understand some of those classifications, and the emails started coming in during the show as they heard it. So we always appreciate the positive feedback. But now we got to talk about another sensitive area that continues to haunt the work environment, and that's this issue about playing the race card. And I got an email where it says, Jim, I'm completely frustrated. As a business owner, we try to be open-minded to hire people from all walks of life. The problem we constantly are faced with is every time we reprimand an employee that's a minority, right away they play the race card. What the hell do we do? Well, I tell you something, that is an expression that a lot of people, they do get frustrated. There's no two ways about it. A few years back, I wrote a book on that very issue. And the name of the book was called Walking on Eggshells, Managing Minorities in the Workplace. And in there, I really do lay it out. It is a very simple guide to what employers need to, if you can get the book, you really need to get it. It's still on Amazon. And to help clear up some of these issues. But you have to understand that minorities in general are going to do this. They're going to play the race card. Last week, as you recall, when I talked about transgender, we were talking about the fact that people, leading the alternative lifestyle, that I told you I did some research, and that they say that 90% of people leading the alternative lifestyle are harassed in the work environment. 90% is a very high number. So I'm not saying I'm not a believer that it's at 90%, but if you remember last week, what did I talk about? That, in my opinion, is now similar to the issue of people playing the race card. That when people are in a certain group, in their minds, is it always that because this action is being taken against me, it must be for this reason. Why? Because people aren't always accountable for what they do. It's an accountability issue. Now, this business about playing the race card is not a new issue. It is an old issue. So who plays the race card these days? You have blacks or African Americans, whichever terminology you prefer. You have Hispanics, and now you have Middle Eastern. I see all of these claims, and now coming up fast and furious is now people leading the alternative lifestyle saying that they're being harassed at work because of their lifestyle. Now look, I am not saying that there aren't people that these things don't happen to, but I'm not in a position to say who's right and who's wrong. But, this email that I received regarding this issue, I was at a seminar the other day, and a manager brought the same issue up, that in fact, every time he goes to give a minority person a reprimand, that right away it's because of the race card. They play the race card, and now that puts them on edge. What do you think that the person that's making that allegation is trying to do? They're trying to put you on edge. Now look, as I stated in my book, you got to also look within yourself. There's a whole chapter that I devote to, matter of fact, there's even a personal awareness assessment test in there in this area, where I try to tell people that are not a minority that you need to look within yourself to make sure that there isn't something that's coming out that, in fact, would suggest that you may be biased in your feelings. Now, obviously, through certain laws that are out there for the protections of discrimination in the workplace, those feelings always have to be left at home. So that's why these protections under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Fair Employment and Housing Act for California, and there's various protections like that throughout the whole country. But this issue of the race card is that to me, you should not panic because somebody used it. It's now becoming too easy to use that. And it's hamstringing managers because managers are afraid of the litigation. Look, if you haven't done anything wrong, then you need to explain to the person, I don't agree with that. And there's nothing at all that I've ever done that would show that I've treated you differently. Just because you're getting a written warning for your behavior as an example does not mean I'm giving this to you because who you claim that you are and for the reasons that I may be giving it to you. Employees will very quickly say things like, oh yeah, but Jim was also late and you didn't give him one and he's Caucasian and so are you. Now look, that's just a statement that people make. The employer's not running around telling everybody who they give a written warning to. And if you go and ask the other person can turn around and say, no, I never got a written warning, even though they know that they did. Why? They're just not sharing their personal information. It may not have anything to do with that. As I stated in the last episode that I did, or segment that I did, I talked about those 3 words, fair, firm, consistent. It applies right here as well. If you are being fair, firm, and consistent with your policies, don't let them throw this up in your face. Be tough. Tell them, no, it has nothing to do with that. And for the fact that they brought it up, if you're not in human resources, tell them, you know what? Let's go down to human resources. You be proactive. Because I can almost guarantee you that if they think that they got that written warning unfairly and unjustly, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to go to human resources and do what? Complain, okay, that you are in fact a racist when you know that you're not. So, my advice is, don't wait for them to go down. Tell them, let's go down to human resources right now. Don't give them a chance to jump the gun on you, then you're more in a defensive position. All right, don't do that. Just go on down there right at that point. And if you already are in HR, then let them know that that's not the case, that you're in a position with human resources, that you're not discriminating against anybody, and that this business about the race card is things that people will say. Now, I want to read just a small segment directly out of the book to you about playing the race card. It's chapter 6. Playing the race card, according to Wikipedia, is defined as an idiomatic phrase that refers to the act of bringing the issue of race or racism into debate, perhaps to confuse the matter. Playing the race card is amplified in a socio-political systems where individuals know that they may be formally awarded special access to rights and resources based upon their membership of a racial group. Race card is a metaphorical reference to card games in which a trump card may be used to gain an advantage. All right. Now, I also just read a little bit further. It normally raises its ugly head when an individual deliberately and falsely accuses another of being a racist in order to gain an advantage. And then I turned around and I spoke about the O.J. Simpson trial and some other issues that have come out over the year where it's easier just to call the race card. I got to tell you, I get so sick of hearing the race card. I can tell you that as we were growing up, I don't think anybody in my family ever used that race card issue to get ahead. We always accepted responsibility. If we somehow or another messed up, we accepted the responsibility. We didn't say it's a result that you're coming after me because of this particular reason. No, we never did that. Our parents didn't teach us that way. Our parents taught us to be accountable. So from my perspective, this business about the race card, you as managers, oh, and by the way, let me back up a second. If you are also a minority, remember something. One of the chapters in the book deals with minorities who are actually managing minorities. Believe it or not, they've got a tougher job than, we'll just say, the Caucasian manager. And I'll tell you why. Because sometimes we can be harder on ourselves than others. So a black manager, as an example, managing a black employee may have a tougher road sometimes only because of the fact that right away we could be accused of things that in order for us to get ahead, we're throwing our own kind under the bus, as an example, just so that we can get ahead. So this issue about the race card and, minorities in the workforce. Look, in the workforce, we work in a very diverse city. We work and live in a very diverse county. We work and live in a very diverse state. And we work and live in a very diverse country. The times are changing. Some of these things, in my opinion, are antiquated, but you have people that ride that banner as far as they can ride it. Don't let them. Sit down with them. Go through it. Have supporting documentation. If it's an excessive absenteeism problem or tardiness problem, then you turn around and show them in print where, in fact, they have failed in their responsibility to the employer. And if and it's up to them to correct the behavior. Focus on the reason why you brought the person into your office. Don't let them focus on their agenda with their issue and put you on the defensive. All right? So this thing about race card, like I said, don't fall for it. You turn around and do what you're supposed to do. Be fair, firm, and consistent with how you manage your policies within the company and how you handle the people working for you, and there should be less of an issue for you to have to worry about. All right? But finally, again, don't fall for it. All right, with that last comment, it's time to close out this segment, but let me remind you that you can also hear us on Facebook at Listen Up and subscribe to us on iTunes. Just search for Listen Up with Jim Potts. And as a reminder, we take calls every third Friday between approximately 9:15 and 10:30. You can also call us 855-4J-POTS or 855-457-6887. Or you can email us at listenup@jameswilliampottsllc.com. Okay, I'm Jim Potts. I will continue to fight the fight. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for being a part of Listen Up with Jim Potts. We take your calls every third Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for your questions and concerns. Call us at 1-855-4J-POTS. That's 1-855-4J-POTS. Again, that's every third Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at 1-855-4J-POTS. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes, and link up with us on LinkedIn. You can also email us at listenup@jameswilliampottsllc.com. Until next time, make it a great week.